Hey guys, Phil with Road Dirt here. Getting around to taking a look at and reviewing the new chargeable mount, motorcycle mount from a company called Peak Design. So it's an interesting looking product, so I'm going to go through a little bit of the product here, do the install, and then see if I can get it to work on the Harley that I've got here, this 2017 Road Glide. We appreciate them giving us a chance to review this. My colleague in Chicago, Ken's already taken a look at the phone mount that does not charge the phone. I've got this design here, and we're going to put it on the bike to see what it looks like and see how quick it is to install and check the performance. Initial quality looks amazing as far as the aluminum billet that they use for it, so it's a very high quality product. But as a lot of people try with consumer products these days, they've made kind of a vain attempt at packaging it like an Apple product. The white cardboard they use is pretty thin, and the instruction manual is loaded with QR codes, but not real sure how helpful they are at this point. So we're going to take a look at this and see what happens. All right, so as you can see here, this is a Harley-Davidson phone mount that is designed just to hold it. The phone, it does not charge, so I'm actually going to mount this phone charger on the right side of the handlebars next to the throttle for two reasons. Number one, I've already got this phone charger sitting here and I'm going to leave it on. I can easily remove it, but also there is a cable, USB cable, down here out of my console, out of the fairing, that I'm going to be using to plug the charging cable into. So we're going to see how that works. First thing it looks like it's pretty important is got to read this, and there's a snap clip that must be installed prior to use. There's some 3M double-sided tape. I don't know if you can see that on the back side of the clip, so we're going to remove that 3M double-sided tape. We're going to install this snap clip, hold it in place. Looks like that's snapped in there well, so it should look like this when you're done. All right, so we got the snap clip in place. They do provide some, first of all, they provide you with the tool you need, so you get a little Allen wrench. That's all you need for install, which is great. And you have the ability to tighten the back of the collar so you can swivel it into multiple different positions and angles, so you get the look and feel you're looking for, and the fit and everything else on the bars. But so I'm loosening the collar here so I can get it on the bars. Looks like it's relatively easy to do this. So I'm gonna spin that off there. And they provide these little rubber collars, and it looks like they've kind of gone above and beyond here, because each collar's got a little notch or a little pin that drops into the collar itself. So depending on the size of your bars, you've got three different sizes or three different thicknesses. This is the thinnest here. So you can actually just drop one in the collar and it stays in place. So that's kind of nice. You can see there I've got it in place and it doesn't fall out. So that's a good job on the design there. And put the other thin one here, because these are KST bars that are relatively thick. And let's see if we can get it to fit on here. Let's see if it won't be long enough. And there's our first problem. This is too small of a mount, so I'm going to take the plastic fittings off, the rubber fittings off. Obviously I can't use them, and I'm going to see if this bolt is long enough for these bars. Looks like it might be without the rubber inserts. Make a bite on it here. So yeah, depending on your bar thickness, you may not be able to use any of the rubber inserts. but kudos to you guys for putting a good design together. They snap into place. So if you're on a scrambler type bike, some of the Japanese and European bikes, the stock bars are relatively smaller in diameter, so you may need some of those collars, but good job on the design there. On that in a second. The next step is to run the cable, and the cable comes with a female connector to the male connector here. There are some pins in there, so just be aware that you've got to line up the pins. There's a flat section on this plug that comes into the collar here, so you should be able to get them aligned fairly easily. Snap that in. So let's see what we got going on here. All right, so I had to get a flashlight and actually look inside of the female portion of this connector to figure out how to get connected to the male piece coming off of the unit itself here. So, all right, we're taking the other. It looks like they give you some nice kind of rubbery cable guides here to run the cable down your bars. So that's a wise use of materials to be able to stretch that around the bar and hold the cable in place. All right, so I've got my cable here that I can connect to the cable coming off of the bike. This is a 2017 Road Glide. Notice this is a USB-C connector. And this gear of Harley Davidson actually has USB-A, if you can see that or not. So fortunately, I have an adapter that goes from USB to USB-C from an external hard drive I had purchased. So I'm going to see if that is actually going to provide the connection you need for the charging mount to charge. So we're going to plug that in there and leave the excess cable, but you got to leave some slack for your turning, obviously, your turning radius. So you're going to have a cable that's kind of hanging out here. So not real wild about that part of the design, but I guess there's not much you can do unless you can get the cable through a hole back in here somewhere or something. I could probably do that if I was really committed to the product. The other thing that's important is you got to have a specific iPhone cover that works in conjunction with the charging device. So that is important, and that was kind of one of the delays. We had to wait for the case because in the instructions it's really kind of in fine print that you have to have their specific case. So that kind of tacks on another 50 bucks or so to this project if you wanted to buy the chargeable as well as this. So I am going to go ahead and tighten up the main mount here. So I'm going behind it. There you go. There. So the cool thing is it does pivot. You can twist it. So if you wanted to change, it does have a pivoting head. So that's kind of cool. All right. So let's get the phone case on and see how this bad boy works. All right. So I've got my old iPhone 13 Pro Max. Got to remove my standard case. This is the case that they sent us to go with this charging mount. Climate neutral, whatever, nobody cares. Again, kind of an Apple-ish packaging. It's close, but it's still a little bit thin. So the phone snaps in. You've got external buttons here to be able to hit the buttons on the phone, so snaps in nicely. It's a good looking case. And yeah, so we're going to see here about mounting it onto the charger. So it seems like it's pretty firm. There is, it looks like a sort of a suspended feel there, so the vibration from bikes like these V-twins that kind of rumble and shake a little bit wouldn't affect the camera, as some recent reports are saying that, you know, constant vibration is going to damage the internal workings of cameras on phones. So they've done some nice work there as far as the shock absorption, if you will, So that's a great part of the design here. So yeah, so let's turn the ignition on. Make sure we're in neutral. And we're in neutral. And now let's hit the phone. And so we are getting a charging notification, and it looks like the phone is charging. So that's great. So the product is working with the bike in the accessory mode. So that's cool. So it looks like it works as far as initial installation. So let's take it out for a ride and see what kind of performance we get on the road, and we'll go from there. But yeah, I'm kind of digging this shock absorbency thing here on the mount. That's a great idea. So good design there, guys. Great job there. So great. All right, Tuesday morning here. This is Phil with Road Dirt doing a quick summary of the Peak Designs QI2 wireless charging motorcycle mount. I really like the product. I gotta be honest, it performed well. We did go riding, and I make mention of this in the written article, but we did go riding after I did the install 2 days ago on Sunday. And when I got back from the ride after about 90 minutes on the bike, the phone hadn't charged. So the little cables, that connector that I was pointing out earlier in the video, that connector somehow dislodged. So when you do plug the pigtail off of the unit into the extended charging cable to go to your power source, make sure that that's fully engaged and snapped in tight. May want to tape it as well. That's really kind of the only thing that we found an issue, but the install was super quick, super easy. They give you everything you need, but you do need to make sure that you order their proprietary phone case. The product's not going to work without it. So that should, I think, be more prominent in the website, but it is what it is. That's the way they decided to market the product. They've got a lot of neat alternatives to this as well, so make sure that you look at all the different models they have on their site at peakdesign.com. But yeah, guys, we appreciate the effort in providing the product for us to review. It's still on my bike, which means I'm going to give it a whirl and run with it and live with it for another couple months here in the cooler weather and see what the performance does. But yeah, all in all, it's a pretty solid product. The quality of the product itself is pretty nice, and the ability to their shock mount that they have on there is pretty good too. So yeah, see what you think. Retail on it on the site's $169. The case runs you another 40 to 50 depending. So you're going to be into it for a little over $200 unless you find it on sale somewhere. But yeah, We enjoyed taking a look at the product, and Peak Design's got a lot of neat things on their site in addition to the phone mount, so check that out, and definitely check out roaddirt.tv and make sure to ride life.